to live. So, it's probably horrible audio. I wonder if I switch it over to my earbuds now and see if
Whoa, touchdown. So I'm just going to talk. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't work. Ziegler, just so you know, I got scammed by your cousin. Just kidding. I did get scammed by a guy, though, today. I can hear you. Hell yeah. So I met a guy named Michael Tigler, and well, I didn't meet him. Actually, that's a lie. But I'm not entirely sure what this guy's plan was, but um, I found a guy selling some Lorcana cards on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, yo, I'll buy them. And he was selling 25 packs of the new release for $5 a pack. And I was like, dude, that's lower than MSRP. My thought was there's a lot of people out there that have bought cards to flip and they get too impatient and they just either want their money back or they want, they're just too impatient. And there's a lot of people out there that are dumb. And I was like, hey, man, I'll buy them all for $5 a pack. The ninja, hello. And he's like, sounds good. And then he sent me a picture of the cards, made sure he had them. And he had a couple other like Pokemon products. And I was like, hey, where are you at? He said, Columbus, Ohio. I said, okay, that's 2 hours and 10 minutes from me. I said, we talked on the phone and all was well. And then I drove for 2 hours and I went to the address that he gave me and I knocked on the door. And by the way, I have this recorded. There was a vehicle there, which was nice. And the guy answers the door and it's not the guy that I was looking for. And I said, hey, Tig, Mike Tig. And he goes, Michael Tigler? And I was like, yeah. He goes, that's not me. And he said, I get his mail sometimes. And I was like, okay, well, I came here to do a Facebook marketplace thing. And he's like, dude, you do not want to deal with that guy. And I was like, talk to me. What do you say? Hello from Russia. Well, I'm in America. Anyway, um, so I was like, hey, okay, tell me more. And this is the story he tells me. I ask him, I say, hey, do you mind if I record this? He's like, yeah, don't put my face in this though, because I don't want this guy knowing, like, he knows where I live. And he said, so he used to live here in 2016 and he was like a squatter. They tried to evict him, but he didn't leave. He was like slinging heroin and making meth. And they came in like flashbangs and pulled him out. He was arrested, all of this stuff. And I was like, so I'm not getting my little Kana cards? And he's like, dude, probably not, man. And so I was like, okay, well, that sucks. And I was like, is this guy, like, if I get a hold of him, is this guy going to be somebody that I need to defend myself against? And he said, I don't know about all that, but he's probably, he's probably going to have a weapon. I mean, she didn't have to see this guy. Yeah, understandable. Um, but uh, so I tried to get a hold of him, text him, called him, texted him. And then I was like, bro, we talked on the phone. Like, what is the purpose? Like, what was the plan? He didn't take any of my money, but he took 6 hours of my time. And then I didn't want to leave empty handed. So I'm sitting at Walmart and I'm just like going through Facebook Marketplace for stuff in Columbus. I find a dude selling some Pokemon stuff. Not for, I mean, they were for the dramatic, like, scalped prices, but I sent him a message and I was like, never questioned a guy on meth. I think the more thing was heroin, right? Because the guy mentioned like a bunch of syringes and needles and stuff. And I think that's what you do with the heroines. I don't know. If somebody gave me heroin right now, I wouldn't even know how to say it. Other than in my ass. That was what I don't know what that means. Um, anyway, uh, I just I don't get it. You didn't want to leave empty-handed, so you bought heroin. That's what I'm trying to get at, okay? That's what I'm trying. So I do heroin now. No, I didn't want to leave empty-handed, so I was like, "Hey, let me find some Facebook Marketplace stuff." I found a guy, looked at his reviews, all 5-star ratings, and I was like, "Okay, we're in some business." And he was selling some Surging Sparks um, packs or whatever. And I messaged him. I was like, "Dude," and he wanted like 45. And I was like, "I'm gonna shoot my shot." And I was like, "Hey, uh, I'm in Columbus for the next like 30 minutes. If you're interested, I'll scoop those up for 30 bucks a pack, which is literally like $4 over MSRP." And um, he's like, "I'll do 35." And I was like, "Listen, how many do you have?" Um, I said, I don't want to leave empty handed. I came here to get Lorcana to open them. My kids enjoy it, and I have been wanting to play it and learn and compete. That's what it sounds like fun to me. And I said, this dude scammed me. So I'm just sitting in a Walmart parking lot right now, trying to figure out, trying to get something. And he's like, well, I have a bunch of other stuff too. Tell you what, I'll do 30 if you pick up some other things. And so I was like, deal. And so I drove it. I met the guy, and instantaneously, this is, I'm just going to tell you right now, okay? I will judge. I will judge. I, when I was driving to the supposed place of Michael Tigler from Columbus, Ohio, we were getting further and further into the ghetto. Um, and it was like, and it's not about who's there, it's about how people take care of their property. And when people don't care about their property, then I'm just like, son of a gun. Like, this is not a good spot. So then I call my buddy Tyler and I was like, dude, I'm calling you because I don't know if what, and this is before I knew that I was getting ghosted and he sent me to his old place. Maybe he was so high he thought he lived there. I don't know. But uh, I was like, you know what? If I go to this guy, like maybe because first I was like, oh, he's probably selling them for cheap because I bought Lorcana for cheap over eBay for under MSRP, including shipping. It was under MSRP. I bought three Illuminator stream. I bought them for $60 of set set six. And I was like freaking screaming deal. I'd have bought that every day. Mm. So we didn't get anything good. Um, so as I'm going here, I'm thinking this guy probably stole these. Agreed. Not taking care of property usually means drugs or just lazy. But it's not about the drugs per se, but when everybody in the community, their shit's falling apart, they got crap in the yard and stuff. And I'm like, there's just I don't know what it is, dude. Like, what is it? Do you blame it on lower income? No, my income's shit. And I make my house look nice, you know? My outside looks great. I just care about my stuff. And I care about the way it looks. And when you take care of your stuff, it lasts longer. So um, I what was I saying? I don't. Anyway, I go to this other guy's house. Or no. I call my friend Tyler. I was like, dude, I don't know. If I buy these, like I don't think this is going to be something that like, hey, I bought in, tried to flip them, but I got, impatient, just wanted some money back. Which if the money was for drugs, it doesn't matter. It's not my deal. Whatever you do with the money. I just want the cards, but I don't think it was that. I think it was this dude for freaking stolen. And that's probably why they were selling for what they were selling for. So, um, again, I ended up going to the guy's house. The guy that was actually there was really chill, but he was like, that ain't me, bro. And so I did a couple like people research. This dude's got like felony arrests and then I found out that you can look at the seller's profile on Facebook Marketplace, and this dude has a 3.7 star rating, which I would say is not really the worst, except it is because I looked into it. It was like all one stars. And then there was like one dude that bought stuff from this guy multiple times and gave him 5-star ratings. And I was like, bro, that's just another homie, just boosting his ratings. Um, since nobody takes care of their shit, the property value drops, which attracts shittier people. The cycle continues. Oh, bro, that is so true. So anyway, the guy told me like the police came in with like flashbangs and like pulled him out, and he was arrested and did all that stuff. And I was like, "Do you have any Lorcana cards?" I didn't say that. That'd have been funny though. Actually, yeah, man. Um, so I find this other seller because, like I said, I just went and sat at Walmart, and I was like, I can't go home empty-handed. Um, so I went and sat in Walmart, and I found another guy that would sell me Surging Sparks boxes, booster bundles, which is 6 booster packs of Surging Sparks for $30. which again, like I said, is great. That's literally $4 over MSRP. So I was like, hell yeah. And then I made a rookie mistake. So I have been very, very, um, very vigilant about not contributing to scalpers, right? And trying to buy everything pretty much at MSRP if I buy anything. And um, when I went to this guy's house, which by the way, I go there and it is in a one of those like it's not a gated community, but it is a community that like there's like an entrance to it. Like a it's like sweeping meadows. And then you like drive in. It's like, oh, look at all these little duplexes or whatever they're called, townhouses. And the dude had a really nice car. And I literally was like, thank God. Like, at least if he does heroin as well, he also, maybe he microdoses or something. And I don't know. Um, Condo, I don't know what that is either, but probably. Uh, so I meet this guy and he comes out with, I talked to this guy on the phone as well. And I was like, how many surging sparks things do you have? And he said, I think I have six. And I was like, I'll take them all. $4 over MSRP. Yep, I'll take them all. And I get there. He's only got two. He's like, hey, sorry, man. I was wrong. I only have two. I have six of this thing. And I didn't even know what it was. It was a Pokemon thing. But I was like, I don't even want it. Um, and yeah, I was like, I don't even want it because with the surging sparks things, it's that Pikachu. I want that freaking Pikachu. But also, there is an Oddish in there as well, because we collect the Oddish. Condos like apartments that you own, usually in duplex form. Yep, that's what it probably was then. Um, but he's got all these other packs and of stuff I didn't know anything about. And so I was like, okay. I was like, well, tell me about this. What are all these things? And I heard the names before, but I've never seen them on the shelves. So he had prismatic evolutions. He had journey together, which I'm not interested in. Um, I just don't like it. Uh, there's no Oddishes in it. um, but he had prismatic evolutions, which I heard was like what everybody's freaking out about. He had this blister or this blast away blooming waters 151 collector thing, and and then he had a bunch of other stuff, right? And I was like, hey, what are you going to do on this, on this, and this? And he told me the prices. And here's where I messed up. Um, I went online and I typed in Blooming Waters MSRP, and he wanted $105 for this big collector box thing. And I was like, I don't know if that's a lot. Um, but I typed in Blooming Waters MSRP, TCG player pops up. I click it and it says 135. And I was like, yeah, take. And then everything else as well, the other box of things that I bought, these like tins of 150 or prismatic evolution. I don't remember what it was, but there was another one that was like 85 on TCG player, and he wanted 70. I was like, take it. Well, did you know that if you type in MSRP TCG player doesn't give a crap about MSRP. That's like current market value. And so then, as I bought this stuff and I put it in my car truck thing, and I'm like driving away, I'm like looking at the stuff, and I talk to Chat GPT because I normally talk to Chat GPT in my truck because I don't have any friends. And I asked it, I said, hey, what's the MSRP of Blooming Waters? And it said $59.99. And I was like, what? Huh? And then the freaking $70 things were like $39.99. And then the freaking prismatic thing that he was selling was like $30. And I paid 60 for it. And I was like, oh, I just want to open them. But they're all going for technically for more on TCG player. And I was like, dude, I don't understand this. That's why I'm not like a flipper or a scalper or whatever. And I just need to stay away from Facebook Marketplace and just keep buying things from. And I think the only reason I felt I pressured myself because he was like, hey man, no problem. Take your time. Do what you ever got to do. And, uh, and so, but I feel like I pressured myself. I didn't want to be like rude to the guy and sit there and like look up prices but I should have done that. I mean, I kind of did that, but I was trying to do it like subtle on my phone. And I don't know, man. So now I feel kind of dumb. But I do know that my friend Amy from Europe, I know that she as they like cannot get Blooming Waters over there, and they're selling for like 150 euros, which is a lot of expensive. It's a lot of money. So I might just turn it into a gift and send it to her. So at least I feel good about it and let her open it. But anyway, plus now I got to fill my gas tank up. Damn it. That sucks. And I waste my whole day. My whole day. Freaking Michael Tigler. Suck. So that's my story. I really have to pee too. Um, I I learned a lesson. It was a pricey lesson, but I learned my lesson. I might just throw the things that I got on eBay to try and make my money back. Um, because the only things I feel comfortable opening are the Surging Sparks packs, which we only had two of, but that's 12 booster packs, and that's for market value. Um, so that sounds like fun to like open and try to get that freaking Pikachu thing. Um, hmm. And the only I went down there for Lorcana. That's what I'm legitly into. Freaking stupid. I tried to report the Michael Tigler guy, but all Facebook does is just like say like uh didn't show up. I'm like, let me write something, man. You guys need to take this guy off the freaking thing. I just need to read the. Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, Thanks for hanging. I'm going to go back to uh, listening about Egypt. Apparently, Egypt, if you guys have been keeping track, did you know that the pyramids, there's like a whole conspiracy about what's going on with the pyramids right now? And I'm really interested in it. And I want to know more. I like highly desire they are Egyptian. They are. I have this like desire to, in our lifetime, be able to listen to um no be able to experience a life altering event. Now some may say, well, yeah, man, when the freaking this guy he got elected, or it's like, what did you do the 9/11? Yes, I understand that, but that's not what I'm talking about. That is like momentarily life altering. I'm talking about, if what's the pyramid conspiracy, brother, my man. So there are these Italian scientists that have this satellite technology that can, they send these rays, these little energy beams, if you will, in layman's terms, and it can map out solid structures under hundreds of feet of solid structure. And they have found these columns underneath the Great Pyramids that traveled down like 4,000 feet into like big, huge things, like they're as wide as like New York buses. It's not sonar; it's something else. And and then it underneath they've completely mapped out an entire like mega city underneath all of the sand, and that the pyramids are essentially just the top. They're like the roofs. And if they prove that to be true, now Egyptologists are like, nah, man, it's stupid. Other people are like, nah, it's a conspiracy. But they've already proven that the technology that they have and that they used is like does work. They used it on structures that we know what's in there, and the it's sending stuff backwards. Like, yeah, man, that's down there. So they've like done and they've published it in a peer-reviewed document, and it was all like okayed. And I genuinely think if this were to be undeniably proven, where the pyramids are literally on the top of these mega structures, and that there are these buried cities, that would completely change everything that we know about everything. You know, it would be so cool. Because then, like, then there's clearly an ancient technology that's been lost. It doesn't have to be aliens. It doesn't have to be. I'll look into it. I'd love to have your brain on it, bro. Um, there's a lot of skeptics, and I know you tend to be more of a skeptic, but I was skeptical at first, and then I watched some, like, other things, some supporting stuff, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, this sounds pretty legit. And well, the Mayans have similar stuff. Yeah. So, but again, some people are like, "Oh man, they're aliens, bro." It doesn't have to be aliens, but it got me into a little rabbit hole of potentially finding like ancient technologies that they think could have been. And it talks about resonant frequencies and how if you can find the resonant frequency of an object, you can like manipulate it, right? Kind of like they do with glass and people and singing and a voice. Well, the people are saying if you could find the resonant frequency of these like giant blocks, and they're still alive. Am I still alive? Tyler just called me.